think we are. Oh, it says I'm live. Better be. Better be. Ooh, no? Well, anyway, welcome to Movie Crab Live. I hope you're having a good Thursday night. I hope you're ready to talk about some, movie news here. Welcome to the show. This first. Okay, there we go. I will send out I like to wait till I know I'm live. I don't want to. What if I'm wrong? And then I post it and people are like, motherfucker. Man, I don't know. It could happen one of these times. But anyway, I want to say hello to Pup, Cornbread, Super Dusky, Zane Powers, William Ellman, Nathaniel Fogo, Purple Goop, Cornbread, Classic Cameron, Sin Ram doing the timestamps again tonight. Everyone give a special shout out to Sin Ram, Flipper Super. I don't know why I said supper. Anyway, and Cornbread, and yes. No, it's a remix of the Aqua Teen theme. So I changed some stuff, but that's what it is. So I think I've admitted that. I'm not too proud to act like it's not. I hope this got sent everywhere because I'm pretty sure I know you're live. What? I'm confused. But yeah, all right, let's switch it here. Man, crazy night tonight. But managed to get to the show. Had to yeah. Carry the Christmas tree home. And I'm still feeling it. I almost was wearing my Taylor Swift hoodie tonight. Not that oh shit. This should be flashing already. Hold on. Stay there. I had some issues with this. I need some electrical tape for that. Anyway. Oh, we got it first super chat. Nobody guessed the energy drink, so I guess we'll just reveal it. From Bloxy Oxenwinkle. First Paul Blart saves cinema. Now Zootopia 2. You know, in the time, this is not a joke. Bloxy Oxenwinkle. Paul Blart was considered a savior of PG cinema, so that is not inaccurate. They're both saviors of. I think Zootopia is PG. Maybe it's PG-13. Maybe they say maybe they say some bad words. I didn't get to do my joke, which was like ACAB, all cops are bunnies. That should have been their marketing. But anyway, this is the Arizona energy drink. I mean, we've never done this one, and I don't know if this is that good, but I like Arizona as a company. They usually have bigger things for $1, but this is, okay, sorry. What? Kevin James should be more. I don't think he's been in a Disney animated thing. I think he's only done Sony. I guess you gotta pick. You gotta pick lane. Anyway, cheers to you, Bloxy. I hope you're working. If you're working, I hope you're doing well. And cheers. Thank you for the super chat. What was I gonna say? Yes, it was a good Thanksgiving. It's a nice Thanksgiving. I made these coloring books for my kids, which they like, with all the stuff they like in them, because it's a long day for kids and stuff like that. As well as, just watched all the specials. They watched the Two Peanuts, the Nickelodeon special I did a review of. Since it's on my Plex server, they love watching it every year for some reason, but they do. And the parade was good. I actually thought it was a better parade, but it was interesting how I don't know. I just felt that I don't know. I was thinking about this, like how it's all a huge ad, but how much of that stuff do you remember? But I thought Huntrix did well, and Mario looked cool, and my old manager Marley was one of the guys holding the Spider-Man balloon. I did watch MST3K. I'll talk about that. I was going to talk about that. Also, I watched some of that marathon. That's hard to watch, like with the kids and everyone, because it's more of my thing. But I did watch it, and I watched it from the short switch over to a Jonah episode. And a lot of the people, the view count went down, and people were making fun of Jonah because nobody likes him apparently. But then the view count went back up like 5 minutes later, and a lot of pointed out like it's late. It was late, and people were just jumping off. But I didn't notice a lot of shit talking of Jonah. Although I will say, people were more into my review. I'm gonna keep doing the every Thanksgiving do a different kind of Turkey Day MST3K review. I don't think I'll do Jonah. I like to switch hosts, even though it's the second year in a row I've done it. I did a Mike one way back one, and I'm going to continue to do that. I haven't done a Joel one, so I made a list of all of them, but I would like to eventually get to all the Jonah ones. But I did notice some shit talking, a lot more shit talking on Jonah, more negativity than I've ever seen from that fandom, which I was a little disappointed by, but whatever. We watched the MeTV Tunes marathon of was it turkey, rabbits, ducks, and no turkeys. A couple that was fine, and I got to watch one of the black and white, but it was like a Betty Boop and not like most of the other times I saw it. Like last year, it was like literally just a like I think it was just like Popeyes that looked like they were probably it was just like a black and white print of it, but it was made in color, which I thought was disappointing. But this year, anytime I turned it, we didn't get to watch a lot because it's like we have people staying here and it's like hard to do that, and the TVs at work don't have. Anyway, it was hard to do, but I would like to watch one year. I'd like to watch more of the Black and White Friday, which is cool. Why is all this bedtime stories talk? I saw In Your Dreams, and I would like to do a review of that. I'm not gonna say whether I liked it or not. Sorry, I'm gonna try to get through all the. There's a bunch of stuff to talk about in small talk, but I know I'm also starting late. Sorry about that. There's just Christmas decorating, and yeah, so I sorry to get the tree home. I had to carry the tree, and there's an ad right now. I had to carry a tree, and that soared me up, and I almost wore my Taylor Swift hoodie. Not, I didn't because I usually get kind of hot when I do the streams, like because I'm moving around and talking for so long. Um, but man, if she ever gives out that music thing, she's really good at making hoodies. I think Shrek is on Disney Plus, isn't it? I don't know. They're really pushing Shrek for the thing. Um, Buster. Oh, it didn't work. We'll just pretend it's just ambiance. I didn't see. You just saw it. I guess not here. I didn't put the ad. Don't blame me. Um. What was I gonna say? So I did a short about not getting to the Smiling Friends pop up, and I wanted to say it is my biggest YouTube short of all time. It was is doing very well, and that's really cool. I feel like maybe I should cover a little more Adult Swim shorts because it seems like people are really into it, and I know a lot of people are here or newly subscribes from that. So it was actually kind of a hit I needed. So thank you all for watching that and liking it. And a little artistic thing, I guess, is that I was very nervous because I was like, what am I just going to talk about how I didn't do anything? And I was like, maybe I should actually. That would be cool. Even though people told me that would be dumb. But then when it was done, everybody liked it. So sometimes just believe in yourself, I guess. Even though it was just me talking about eating a sandwich in a park. But it's parks are cool and sandwiches are cool. And I was happy with how that turned out and stuff. I was confused. I wanted to do a review of season three, but I don't know. There's so much going on with Christmas stuff. I'm not sure when it'll come out. But I was a little like confused if I do like I guess season three's over. I don't know. I'll get around to it because I'm like a little lost on the two other episodes that supposedly we're not supposed to know about or something. Anyway, um, very confusing that whole fucking thing. But and I made that little theme song because what Netf- Netflix won the bid? Is that true? Where are we getting that from? Is that fuck? That's not good. I don't see it on Hollywood Reporter. Is it? Let me check Twitter. Is that? Did they really get it? I hope that's not true. Did they win the bid? I don't see that anymore. Oh, Variety just broke it? Oh, man. Okay, well, I saw this part. I don't know if they. It seems like they are probably going to win it, but that's. I'm sort of reading this. Sorry, we're stopping the small talk thing to just do this. Apologies. Um, I mean, hmm, that's. I was actually going to talk about that. No, well, okay. Ooh, hmm, no, that's that's really bad. That's like, oh fuck, oh damn it, oh shit. Yeah, I mean, I guess you're getting my reaction in real time. If that, I mean, it hasn't. It. I know people are. I read the Congress thing, and I was going to talk about that already, but fuck. A theatrical window as thin as 2 weeks of exclusivity before moving to streaming. Another insider promoted the deal. Well, he denied this, saying the periods would be longer. I mean, they haven't made. To be fair to everyone, uh, they have not made an official statement. I was gonna. I guess I'll just talk about the Netflix thing now, and then we'll do Patreon Discord because I feel like we're already talking about it. I. Oh, the rap's just saying Netflix wins. Netflix. I mean, sorry if I'm like sort of quiet. I'm like reading and reacting to this. Secured a win over rival studio Paramount. So, okay, sorry. I have to like reconfigure my brain here. Um, the thing with this is obviously it's not good because I mean even James Cameron. I was hearing an interview with him today. I got to go down to where I was going to talk about this. This is interesting. I've never had like a. This is like a major. This could be the major thing that fucks up Hollywood. Like for real, for real. I do think if Netflix was smart, they would have Warner's be the theatrical side and have it be released stuff released through Warner Brothers since that's been so successful officially this year. Uh, but no, it's fine that you brought it up. I'm not mad at anybody for bringing it up. I just have to reconfigure how I was going to talk because I like to read and think about it a little more. So I'm not. But I hope the theatrical window thing isn't true. I do think if Netflix, I mean, I'm a little surprised because Paramount was so upset that it looked like Netflix was going to win, and they didn't want them to win. However, it seems like they were like, aren't they doing a leverage buyout thing? Like they're not paying. I don't know, man. But sorry if I'm like stopping and stuff. Yeah, I might change up the thumbnail. Sonic might be cut. Um, I don't think it's good for the industry unless Netflix decides we do, in fact, will do theatrical, which I think is something they are going to have to do with Narnia, with Greta Gerwig. We know that. And it is become like people want to bounce from Netflix because uh I'll do the Patreon Discord after this. I didn't forget it's more of a because they are losing filmmakers. That's been a discussion for a long time. Because people are like, why did Scorsese bounce? right after, and it seems like he'll probably work for Apple again or something. And it's because they don't have theatrical, or like Quran. It looks like he wouldn't come back to Netflix, and a lot of people are like, "Well, I got my movie done," and I think like the fact that they have like Pamela Addy, who just won the most influential woman in Hollywood, and she is. I think to ruin those executives like that, I think would be a really stupid move. But I don't know. This is like really gonna. This could really end some theaters, unless like if Netflix buys a theater chain or something like that, which I've noticed no studios wanted to do. A Nattenbox 64, hello Nattenbox says, how sadly ironic when AT&T bought WB, it was to get them into streaming against Netflix. Years later, Netflix would possibly buy Warner's. That's actually a very good observation, Nattenbox. You're right. My my other concern is if this goes through, which I mean, they basically won the bid, I guess. Um, right now, but it's not done. Is that what will they do with the older films? Well, they could really that could help their streaming platforms by having more older stuff. So I am really curious how they will deal with WB. And the fact that like it was going to get broken up, so they're getting like kind of everything in the Warner Discovery thing right there. Cineram, I thought it's just studios because of that deal changed in the last 5 years or so. So studios can actually that was overturned. I think it was a Trump thing actually. So they can do it. Is this still better than Paramount? Well, the thing about it is with Paramount is they were committed to theatrical. So for having for cheers to you, Zane Powers. First off, Ellison sucks, and they were friends with Trump, and they were basically going to just like get to like walk through all the regulation and shit. Which it sounds like there is already opposition for Netflix since people wrote this letter to stop them. Paramount is and the Ellisons are sort of being little bitch babies about it because they are kind of deciding they don't want it to happen, and they're like kind of fighting it, where it's like Universal didn't who everyone thought would win this and is not even really in mention in the end. But I really do think I don't know, I don't feel great about it. I think Netflix is throwing away a ton of money if they take all this stuff off theatrical. I'm sure everyone at Warner's, like, from James Gunn to Coogler to anyone, although he's more at Disney presently, but like, or James Gunn to Zach Kreger to, all the other. I mean, I'm sure Christopher Nolan feels really good right now. Is very much very worried right now. I'm sure a lot of those people are going to bed tonight thinking, is my next project coming to theaters now? And how long will it be? I think 2 weeks is not long enough. And I think Netflix has a bigger responsibility than they know what to do with, which is a huge problem ultimately. Paramount, I think the biggest problem with the Ellisons, I know like James Cameron did proclaim that he thought they were better recently. I think the problem one, they mainly just want CNN for like I don't really get the CNN thing because who fucking cares and their ratings like cable news, like this is like this very boomer obsession over cable news. It like I'm over 40 and I don't give a shit about cable news. That is not a good sign for your business about cable news. Um but that is really what they wanted. They wanted it to do what they wanted, which is like couldn't a lot of that stuff that Trump was fighting entertainment wise was like, couldn't you just wait 10 years for that to be irrelevant? Like, it's not really getting any more relevant late night shows than that. So I could honestly see them going like, here, you can have CNN, leave me the fuck alone. Like, if you'll like regulate me through, but I don't see that. I think how Paramount's dealing with the Ellisons is dealing like people who made the system work for them, and it didn't work out, and they're gonna whine their stupid entitled asses all over the fucking place. But Netflix, I do think if this goes through fully, and it looks like right now it is, um, I do think they should really consider making this their theatrical arm and being like, if we say Warner's or New Line and stuff, it's that. But this also, maybe they could then do more with that IP and stuff. And they are a little more, um, I guess, bullish about IP that they own. So we could see more cartoons and stuff. They could be a better home for Looney Tunes and stuff, which is one thing I have kind of liked about the idea of Netflix. I really do think they would, but what they're going to do theatrical windows does worry me. That the rumor part of it, I don't like. I want Ted Sarandos to. I know he said he won't, but his whole business model is like theatrical is dead. I don't actually think theatrical is dead. We're going to talk about the box office later in the show. I'm sorry, this is going to hang over the show because this is like the biggest movie news. This is like if Warner's is really over, this is the biggest movie news. I tweeted earlier today or skeeted or whatever that there's a real possibility because right now Best Picture is really between Sinners and One Battle After Another. We could be looking at the last Best Picture winner that just says Warner Brothers. Like that's the last one, and that's insane to think about. And that's a real possibility right now. And I don't know. I don't love this. But Trump got more to deal with, like his supporters. Yeah. I mean, it's also like, is it antitrust? Because we weren't talking about antitrust with Paramount owning it, which I find like the Trump involvement in this really super. Anyway, cheers to you, Nanboxes. Thank you for all the super chats. What we're gonna see is something we don't have precedent for, but I do think like there is going to be a fighting back of this. I think Warner's, if they're stupid, will just go. If Netflix just taking Warner's completely or ruining their theatrical window is a bad move because everything from Minecraft to Superman to Weapons all played well for a long time, and you could just like ride that out. But Netflix isn't known for that. But I really do. I really think I've thought for a long time Netflix could make even more money using theatrical if they're smart. But they have their credo and all that shit. I don't know. I don't know what this could mean for theaters. I really would not like theaters to end. As hard as it is for me to get to theaters sometimes, I don't want movie theaters to end. And what does that mean for these other studios? Would they then be like, well, maybe we'll make more movies? Could that be good? I was thinking that today, but this is this is going to be the thing about the 2020s in cinema is can movie theaters battle streaming and win? And it does not look good right now. And I think you know, but I also think the problem with the Ellisons is they were biting off more than they could chew. They have they are producers, but they've ran a studio for like a couple months and made all these proclamations, but that shit don't mean shit because they haven't had a hit yet. They have not steered the studio into anything. They're just like being like, I mean, like I said, they screwed up the South Park deal, they screwed up the Taylor Sheridan deal. They're trying to make two different Ninja Turtle movies. Like they haven't done anything. You're like, oh, smart. Okay, I see some promise. Like I really don't see that. So we I don't know. I will talk about it more next week. Let's just leave it where it is. Um I'm curious where it's gonna go. I don't think this is good, ultimately. I think if Netflix is willing to see this as let's actually have a theatrical arm, and that will be Warner Brothers, this could really work. But it doesn't feel like they will do that, does it? No. All right, let's. Wow, this is wild. This is wild. I was like yesterday, I was like, maybe I shouldn't stream, and I was like, no, I have a feeling I should. I also didn't think there was another time this week I could, so it was like, but wow. That's history right there, guys. That's fucking history. Whether this works out or not, this is a major story. Uh yeah, Cornbread said Netflix not realizing what they're buying into and what they have at their disposal is going to be a fatal flaw. For who, that'll be interesting. David wasting his daddy's blood money, basically. Oh man. Well, he should have bought Warner Brothers, not fucking Paramount then. Fucking idiot. Anyway, cheers to your 9 64. I kind of like that they didn't win though, because I sort of hate the Ellison. So I'm okay with, even though look, it would have worked out. All right, let's I was gonna talk about my Spotify rap, but whatever. All right, let's do this. All right, let's do the Patreon Discord and do the rest of the regular show. I'm not even sure what the flow is gonna be. Um. Okay. All right. This and everything I do. That was small talk. Sidram, I'm sorry. This is a what is he? What even is the energy drink? Austin, come on. Anyway. Um. Yeah, that's Lightspeed Man says. WB's been the town bicycle for 40 years and it kills. I mean, you're not. I guess since the AOL Time Warner thing. No, wait, they bought Ted Turner. Yeah, you're right. Lightspeed Man, that is a good call. Now that I really thought about what you said. All right. Anyway, let's do the Patreon Discord. This is usually the break when we get into the real show. But anyway, this and everything I do is supported by you, the fans, either through. Thank you for that. Thank you. I like the bless you part. This is supported by you, the fans, either through super chats during the show, and if we hit $20, these lights will go flashy. I actually need to repair these and cannot touch them during the show because I need to get some electrical tape. Doesn't matter. If every multiple $20, I have it go all flashy and stuff like that. And then what was I gonna say? Or you can join the Discord, which has all sorts of awesome. Or no, okay. Or you can. WB Netflix threw me off. Or you can join the Patreon, where it's all sorts of cool stuff, like Sophie interviewing me about Smiling Friends, which is an exclusive that only went out for Patreon. There's going to be a commentary thing. I need to schedule and stuff that hopefully this weekend, another one, and as well as you get more power in the movie review vote for $10 and up. You have postcards. You have access to my public access show, movie stuff, all sorts of, and a lot of exclusives, and it helps me continue to do the show. And you do this and bring this to you, and help keep the lights on in my apartment and all those things. It's rough out there right now, bro. So any contribution you can, if you're financially able to do so, I very, very much appreciate, and thank you very much who does and who can. But just watching the show, liking this video, and subscribing, and turning on notifications if you want to, very much helps the show. You can get the community post, you can hear about my throwbacks, and I do throwbacks of older stuff, and you can find out when movie crap is, and all sorts, and find out when the videos are coming. And I do my instant premieres and stuff like that. If you're into that, but just seriously, if you don't even have a, which there are people, I know people. I don't know if you think I'm dumb for doing this. For people who don't even have an account, you just watch them randomly. Thank you very much for being here. I very much appreciate it, and also thank you for all the new people. There's a lot of new people. There's a Smiling Friends thing. Thank you all for being here. I really, I'm feel it was nice you all for subscribing and sticking around. I very much appreciate it. Before we do the Discord set, William Elman says, I'm yearning for the time of the 90-day theatrical window to come back. I am surprised it doesn't, because there's so much room for it. I'll get into that. The box office thing is at the end because I have like sort of 2 weeks to talk about. But there really is room to do that right now, and I don't understand it. Cheers to you, man. They're like, you really could do it if you look at it from a business perspective. But all right, and now leave me alone, Chrome. What was I gonna say? Sorry. And then there is the Discord. If you like the wonderful community we have in this chat right now, and we're all talking and stuff, you should join the Discord, which has all sorts of wonderful things. Like, I actually have a thing for the cards that I was gonna reveal. I thought this would be the main thing that starts off the show, which when you see it, you'll laugh. It's all sorts of cool things like General, Ask Jim, suggestions for Jim, all sorts of wonder. They're watching Ernest Saves Christmas. That's awesome. I should review more Ernest actually. Um, it's a really wonderful community. I still literally got a compliment last week from a coworker who was like, "Your Discord's like mad chill, dude," and people were like surprised at this community, and I really appreciate it. We're not weird and creepy. We're like cool, and I like that about y'all. You do a wonderful job, but also channels like not just about me. You can talk about movie discussions. You can do self promo. You can do all sorts of stuff like that, and they have movie watches every Saturday, and they're watching Ernest Saves Christmas. But here, there's also the licensed playing card channel, and I have guys. You're not even ready. I have Argyle cards. I know. This was going to be the big thing. I was like, we're going to be talking about the Argyle cards. They're wrapped in this is an unboxing actually of the Argyle cards. Now I just gotta open. Oh, it says best poker hands according to rank. I don't understand that. These are my Argyle cards. Everyone remembers Argyle, the movie I didn't review. Like we're delinquent children. I did watch fake movie. I was gonna talk about that. I'm okay with if I'm not doing movie crap. Fake movie crap has my permission. I thought that was actually funny. I was like, I like that the Canadians came up with their own Thanksgiving thing. Okay, so I was gonna do this unboxing because I was like, this will be a great way to start out. Sorry. Yeah, it's just okay. We can get rid of. See, the Joker is this cat. Yeah, I'm doing gambling. I'm doing gambling stuff too, just like Mr. Stuckmann, and the rest are like these. I'll do an actual picture in the licensed playing card channel. This is disgraceful. Anyway, Argyle. I only get cards for movies that bomb tremendously and nobody remembers. That's my only movie. I need to. What's another one like that? Like Cowboys and Aliens. I was so happy about that. I don't know what other. Green Hornet, maybe? I don't know. If I can find Green Hornet cards, maybe. Argyle or Argo. See, Argo people remember. Anyway. Austin with another, which I believe takes us to $20, but I will check. A cornbread check says now we can talk about the biggest movie news. The Chippewa movie, biggest movie 2020, bigger than the Chainsaw movie. Demon Slayer calling it out. I do not know what that is, and every time I Googled it, it didn't make any. John Carter. Oh, Austin, you're right. You're right. It was somebody's watching Mr. Sunday movies and Lone Ranger, and so I should try to find this. Anyway, cheers to you. I do not understand what that is, man. I'm sorry. But monkey bone card. You guys are thinking Shelby Oaks. You know what I should gamble with my Shelby Oaks card. Cheers to y'all. I never saw Argo. I just have the cards. All right. Man, this whole stream is already interesting. All right, let's talk about the Sonic spinoff movie and what Paramount's doing other than David Ellison calling his dad, asking if he can fix it. They're trying to do a Sonic spinoff movie. This Sonic spinoff movie is scheduled for 3 years from now. Sonic 3 is still scheduled for March 19th, 2027. I'm loving everyone's ideas for these cards. The movies everyone forgot about, but were big budgets. Smash Machine cards, Sydney Sweeney Christie cards, Gods of Egypt present winner. I actually like Gods of Egypt's fun because it's ridiculous. Like Gods of Egypt, I love Gods of Egypt. Like the Chadwick Boseman performance, his only true camp performance. I was like, man, he should have gotten to do way more camp. All right. But yeah, so Paramount is trying to beef up their franchises. We did talk about TMNT live action last time with all that, but I'll talk about Sonic first. They do plan on doing a spinoff movie. I am curious because they didn't do I didn't do the flashing thing. I'm sorry, guys. Okay. Are you okay? Okay, they're okay. Because they did do a Knuckles show, and I am curious, like, does that mean Shadow? Does that mean like kind of a team thing or a Tails thing? I am really curious what they thought what the spinoff's going to be. They didn't announce it. They just dated it, which is okay. It's kind of like I mean, sure. I could see it not happening. Sonic 4, I definitely see, although I know people have been really, who work on the Sonic things were hyped about it, so maybe it'll be something. I do think that's a good franchise because it seems to be of, you know, evolving in the right way and stuff, but we'll see. We did get that the live action Ninja Turtles movie would come out earlier in 2028, November 17th. I'm assuming that's their sort of big Thanksgiving movie. Um, I, um, but they still, first off, they keep saying Mutant Mayhem 2, September 17th, 2027. And they've also said there is discussions for Mutant Mayhem 3. My big thing is like, I do not agree that we need two different, um, Ninja Turtle movies at the same time. Like, and I really think like a live action one doesn't make a lot of sense. Like it just failed like 10 years ago. It doesn't make me think like I want another um Ninja Turtles live action thing. I know that's like how the franchise started, but I feel like Mutant Mayhem is a much better franchise. Yeah, but William Elman, which crash cards? Which crash? Um both. I just don't. I really have a lot of questions about that. I understand like the idea could be more profitable, but it didn't work out. And what is your ultimate? If you're gonna do it like they're animated like cartoon characters in the real world, I'm a little more interested than what they did in the other ones. But like, you really have to have a better take and like how Seth Rogen, what he did with Mutant Mayhem was more interesting because he's like, what if they actually act like teenagers and they're played by teenagers? And like, Jacob Elordi was just talking about in interviews the bacon, egg, and cheese thing. So like, unless you have something organic that I still hear people talking about, I just don't see it right now. Like, I'm not. I know I'm like more of an animated Ninja Turtles. I also do feel like Ninja Turtles animation has been doing uh, animated Ninja Turtles always gets kind of shafted, whether it's Rise or this, Tales of TMNT, which was weird. They had the Macy's float, and I was like, this show has been canceled. So, the Westonator, who brings up a good point, says, "Do you think the fact that there's both a live action and animated Spider-Man series going at the same time made them think the same will work for TMNT?" I think the thing with that is those are different Spider-Mans. Miles Morales is man, this is getting real choppy. I'm sorry about that. Miles Morales is animated Spider-Verse. Peter Parker is live action. And I think the problem with all that is if animated Spider-Man are different, but these are the same Ninja Turtles. So Leonardo, Raphael. So you have like two people playing Leonardo. You have two people playing Raphael. It's like the same reason people don't want there to be a DCU Batman and a Matt Reeves Batman. It's theatrically confusing, and I just don't see it really working at the same level. Really, I just don't buy it at all, and I really wish. I don't know. I think it like makes the consumer a little confused as well. What's ultimately going to happen with that? Jeez, what is? Yeah, it's really like. I'm wondering if it's like the AI in Chrome. I should figure out a way to. Anyway, sorry about that. I don't know. I think you'd be if you wanted to like be like, oh, in this new one they're transported to a new dimension and they're in the real world or something. I'm like, that sounds like bullshit, but I'm a little more with you. You know what I mean? So, um, well, no, Peter Parker. It's a different Peter Parker. It's canonically a different Peter Parker too. Very different. And like, how do you separate? Like the whole idea is it's like a very different. Like it's multiverse kind of thing, and also the only multiverse thing that people seem to like and is actually good. And I think Ninja Turtles, it's like, unless you're gonna have them be like the what's it like the Swamp Era comics or like a different era or something. Like I think Last Ronin made more sense than just like what if Ninja Turtles but more Sonic. Like how is that different? It's like if you're a consumer, you're like, oh, this one looks different. Like it's just, if you make two different kinds of Oreos, are you going to sell more Oreos or are you just going to sell this, you know, are Oreo fans just gonna buy one and then the other? Like I don't know. Nathaniel Foga said rent 2005 cards would go so hard. Cheers to you, Nathan. I did throw back to it. So it's my fault. I brought it up recently. Um, all right. Also, in the Paramount announcement, if you do want to see Top Gun in the theaters, the original one, they're going to re-release it next summer. I prefer Maverick of the two, but I will say if you see um, Top Gun, I think seeing it on the big screen would be awesome. So if you really like Top Gun, I recommend it. I've never done it, but anyway. In movie news that broke today is that they're writing. I want to preface this because you have to say it the right way because I notice everybody's saying it in a weird way. They're developing a new Men in Black film. It's being written by Chris Barmner, who also wrote Bad Boys for Life and brought back the Bad Boys franchise. And he's writing a Men in Black script with the idea to bring back, hey, King style, bring back Will Smith. And there's a part written with his character. I, um, I've only seen the first Bad Boys. I have not seen in Bad Boys 2. I didn't see the newer ish ones. But I think I don't know. One, if Will Smith will come back, because I know he is a little like when he turned down Independence Day 2, that's maybe one of the greatest career moves he ever made in his later career. Like you can say Suicide Squad wasn't good. Was it as bad as Independence Day 2? No. And actually, people saw it and it did well, unlike Independence Day 2. So I can see him looking at this and going, no. I also think like maybe uh um we've had so many Men in Black sequels that haven't worked out, but there's that. But I think the 21 Jump Street Men in Black thing would have been a better move. And I think we all, other than Neil Moritz, who we just sort of talked about because he is the reason they're doing the TMNT live action thing, because he wouldn't bring his quote down, which is crazy, considering he's the one who wouldn't do it. I think that's a stupid move. I don't really think the thing is I think Men in Black the first one was like the best post like so many people try to do the Ghostbusters thing and fail and I think the first one in Black does it and congrats to them, but I just don't see I don't see anyone being able to do that unless you get like a really interesting director. Like if Phil Lord and Chris Miller were doing it, but they won't because they have better shit to do. But if you had an interesting director or interesting writer, but like the guy who's writing Bad Boys, like I don't like Bad Boys 3 and 4, oh yippee. Like nobody's like, oh wow. It's sort of like, look, Will Smith is not what he was, and he's still he's never really come back. He sort of has had these blips, but he's not even trying to come back either in anything that's not a franchise. And maybe his team told Sony, like, hey, if you bring back Men in Black, I'll do it. I actually think if the Independence Day people and Fox or now Disney fucked up and they should have done Independence Day 2 now, and if they want to do another Independence Day with him, I bet he would do it. He doesn't have the options. I don't think he's coming back as Deadshot or whatever, but it'd be interesting. We'll see what happens. Well, on Poker Nights, Jim breaks out the Trojan horse or John Tillman, Tillman movie cards. I love that. I love it. Cheers to you. I mean, I have bought movie cards. Anytime I bought cards in Baltimore specifically, someone always goes, "Oh, do you do like poker? My friends that do poker night. Do you want to come?" It's happened to me like 3 different times. So I was like, "Oh no, I just shuffle them by myself." But I'm invited by randos. It makes me feel good. It makes me feel like if randos are still reaching out, I'm still cool to someone. Cheers to you. That's a good one. I was gonna talk about Stranger Things 5, but since the flow's all fucked up, I'm just gonna move on. But I liked it. I've never really done a review of Stranger Things, but I do quite enjoy that show. All right, I'm gonna switch back to regular. Okay, I have to be careful because I don't want to go. I know I was the joke is I'll go over, but there's like so many things now. Okay, what's going on with Rush Hour 4 specifically? Because this is honestly confusing, but it apparently is happening. So apparently, what happened is Trump said he wanted Rush Hour 4 from Paramount, which doesn't make any sense, even less now, because Rush Hour is a Warner franchise. However, they somehow, through Trump basically, figured out how to bring back Rush Hour and have it be distributed through. Just Paramount is doing distribution only. They said they would do it. Warner's has already passed on this idea, but they're gonna sort of let them do it, and they just have to find the money. So Warner's is just like, I mean, like they have to probably pay Warner's a fee and all this stuff. Um, why would you do this? And why is Trump suddenly really into Rush Hour? I don't think he is. But what he is interested in is Brett Ratner, who I don't think anyone really liked as a director. I know Community used to make fun of him. I don't really like him that much as a director. He directed the Melania documentary, which I don't think is even out yet. And supposedly, he directed that and used his leverage with Trump to get himself back into Hollywood's good graces. And his way to get back is to make Rush Hour 4. Now, the problem with Rush Hour 4 financially is that Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan, as people have passed on this before, including Warner Brothers and supposedly other studios, I keep hearing, um, they're both like want a shit ton of money, which rightfully so. That's why people make sequels. So we did talk about Netflix, Warner Brothers at the beginning of the show randomly. It was this is a crazy show. Sinram, I don't know how you're gonna timestamp this. I do not envy you with this. I'm sorry. Do your best, man. Don't. This is anyway. Um. But Warner's already passed on this. What almost every industry insider I heard and read basically said is there is no way this will make money between the back end deals and the front thing, the expensive salaries, and you probably have to pay three because I bet you Ratner is going to find a way to get a huge salary too. It would basically be like we're talking. Let's say each of them get 20 million. That's 60 million, and that's not even the shoot. That's just the talent. That's a disaster right there. And I think I'm honestly being I'm being nice about that. It's probably more like 80 or something between all those people. And Jackie Chan is not like really, he's not a spring. He's pretty old at this point, so I don't know if he would really even how they would do that and like who else they'd have to bring in and like if you want to pay out for a villain and stuff like that. Almost everyone is like this is a streaming play because you can spend way too much, put it on Paramount Plus, have a huge number, have the bragging rights, and no one has to know how much money you fucking or no one will care basically. But you put this out in the which is a thing I actually hate about. I should probably at one point talk about what I really hate about huge star salaries of streaming because like Mark Wahlberg puts out all these shitty movies constantly, which who knows if they're actually doing well. You never hear about them at all. But like then Will Ferrell or Mark Wahlberg can demand $20 million again and again and again, despite the fact that like I couldn't name most of those movies. Whereas if he had things coming out in theaters, he would not be able to do $20 million because he does not have the box office for that, which is why box office helps star salaries in a way and contain them. Whereas like I know for a fact Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg are very guilty of doing that. Lesser Ryan Reynolds because he puts stuff out in theaters and kind of goes back and forth, but like he anyway. But the only way for this to make any sense is it's a streaming play. If Paramount is smart, they will not release this in theaters. There is no way a $200 million Rush Hour 4 is making even $200 million in America in 2025. Maybe with China, I think with the box office there and Jackie Chan's appeal there and stuff, maybe. But like you'd have to have a crazy angle. You'd have to really know what you're doing there, and unless they have that or something. But yes, Brett Ratner, who I guess wants to get in Hollywood's good graces by using the president everyone hates to squirm his way back in. He's just anyway. There's nothing about this is good, but apparently it's a sort of a done deal. But I think like almost everyone is like this is a terrible idea. Like there's a reason Rush Hour 4 didn't happen. Didn't Rush Hour 3 have Roman Polanski in it? Jesus. Yeesh. Okay, in quick Shrek 5 casting, we learn that two of Shrek's sons are played by Marcello Hernandez and Skylar Skylar Gisondo was Jimmy Olsen in Superman. Marcelo Hernandez is from um, SNL. Marcelo Hernandez makes sense because Universal is sort of like the second version of Disney that we sort of don't acknowledge as much, even though they have two animation studios and they do. I will talk about them with ScarJo because they have two casting things with her, but they do seem to want to reuse people quite frequently. So that's going to continue to happen. I thought it was interesting. Man, weird vibes tonight with that. Man, that Netflix thing is not good. The Wicked sequel. So apparently, Universal, we're talking about them again. Never mind. Has said they would like to make more Wicked movies. I have not seen Wicked for good, although I have a better than Mr. Stuckmann's review of Wicked for Good coming. If you kind of can guess what that's going to be like, but um uh Rush Hour 5 starring Steven Seagal and Isaiah Washington cheap. I like that. Although I do think Isaiah Washington, well, he used to be a good actor. I guess he fucked that up. But anyway, cheers to you, Syndrome. Um, um, okay, sorry. I like that idea though. They're saying they want to make more. I honestly think like the Oz stuff is so weird because they all just kind of try to skirt around the Wizard of Oz, which is such a huge movie. I do think they should probably just do the other Oz books, as I've said a million times before. I sort of don't think they claim that they're going to do another one. I don't really see it. Apparently, there are other versions of the books, but I think the thing with Wicked is it had that box office because there's that built-in anticipation, and you can't just sort of like do that. I do think like Wizard of Oz is. I'm surprised Netflix or somebody isn't trying to do something with those other books because it is a deeper IP than it's really given credit for, and there's no real plans. They just said they're going to do it, and the press kept saying like, "What if they made Wicked 3?" And they're like, "Do you know how this shit ends, bro?" Like, I don't think that's like a thing, but whatever. Um, okay. Sorry, I need to look up, but I'll talk about this. Jorge Gutierrez posted a thing about how Okay, do we have the whole 20 in here? Sorry, you're doing it in an annoying way. Thank you, Reddit. Always the best. Uh, Making a Speedy and Gonzalez movies for Warner's maybe. I actually think this would be a great project for him. I also think it would make white people not think Speedy Gonzalez is racist still, which I think um which I think would be cool, and I think he could really do a lot with it based on something. I think it'd be cool. It's just sort of an announcement with him and all that. Jordan said, finally watching Tokyo Godfather. Did you watch it? I've not actually seen that. I need to do that at some point. But yeah, cheers to you, Jorgens. I should get to that. I would like to do more anime. I've thought about like, should I just do an anime every like do 12 animes next year or something? That could be cool. All right. Uh Sorry. All right, Quentin Tarantino released a list of what he felt were the best movies of the 21st century. Um, I don't know if I will list off all of them, but his number one was Black Hawk Down. His number two is Toy Story 3, 3 Lost in Translation, 4 Dunkirk, 5 There Will Be Blood, 6 Zodiac, 7 Unstoppable, which I knew he was a big fan of, 8 is Mad Max Fury Road, 9 is Shaun of the Dead, and 10 is Midnight in Paris. He also has School of Rock on there, Jackass the movie, Passion of the Christ, The Devil's Rejects, Moneyball, Cabin Fever, and a 20 West Side Story. The thing about that, I'll talk about this list and I'll talk about like the shitty ways he likes to take people down. So he's sort of a reverse Chris Stuckman in that he's talented and that he likes to shit on other filmmakers. But um he's not a reverse Chris Stuckman. Chris Stuckmann wishes. Anyway, sorry, I did whatever. My journey with Tarantino, when I got into film, he was still a big deal, and it was actually before Jackie Brown came out, and it was so cool because I remember specifically, um, how come Tarantino didn't just list off all of his movies so it would be easier? Thanks, Epilepsy. I have no clue how much that was. Okay, Patreon explained it, but cheers to you. I love when we get these. Um, Tarantino. When I that was insanely mean. Sorry, sorry, Cartwright. I'm saving the Stuckman segment for later because I remember what I did last time, and I was like, eh. All right. Um, Tarantino. Sorry, I'll get to this. Tarantino. The thing with him is when I got into film, almost any film he would recommend, and I think the last time I saw him do this, and he would have fun with it. He would be like, everyone was like, "What should I watch with Django?" And he said Navajo Joe, and I found Navajo Joe, and I watched it. It was okay, but it was like cool. You like find out about these '70s movies, usually '70s movies, almost all the '70s movies. Or I saw Detroit. I think it was Detroit 9000 or something. Or like with Kill Bill, I like didn't know much about that kind of cinema that was influenced by Kill Bill, and I literally had a list of like every single movie, and I kept seeing them for years, and I loved doing it. And when I get from this list, and what I've noticed from him since Hateful Eight, when that was like The Thing and Bonanza, both things I know to a certain degree, and then, even with Django, like I had already had a Sergio Corbucci phase years before. And it did feel like, oh, this guy, it felt like you ever have a guy who like introduces you to film and then like you haven't seen him in a while and you talk to him and his tastes are like your taste has evolved and he hasn't. And it feels like Tarantino is just like, these feel like very dad, um, boring, I only see the big stuff kind of movie choices. They don't feel that interesting. I don't think the oldest thing in here, I guess, is the newest thing here is West Side Story. I guess I don't find them interesting choices. I found it pretty dull. Like Black Hawk Down, like I really didn't think it was a really good list. I think other than Big Bad Wolves, I think I've seen everything on here. He put a lot of his friends and lost. I mean, he dated Sofia Coppola. Like so many of his friends are on here. I agree. Shaun of the Dead is really really good. I don't think Cabin Fever is up there. Passion of the Christ. I've actually not seen that. I'm planning on actually trying to see it around Easter. I don't know if I'll review it or not. But because I've never seen it. But actually famously it was sold out. My dad and I went and saw Fog of War instead, and I think that was a better decision. Um, this does not reflect how I feel about the 21st century. I find this to be a really basic list from a guy who used to be interesting, and his podcast shit is like not like I always thought it'd be cool when he became a critic, and even if he stayed in the '70s and said interesting stuff about it. But this is like School of Rock is really good. A lot of these movies are really good, but like most of what he's doing here, it's like why is Fury Road? No, Cabin Fever is on here. Cabin Fever is on here. Fury Road, I don't understand why that's lower than a lot of this stuff. Why his one anime movie is Toy Story 3, which is like, I think I would put like 21st century means like, so you're leaving out Monsters Inc., Up, Finding Nemo, Inside Out, Wally. Like, I think Toy Story 3 would be on my higher list of Pixar, but even animated stuff, like, there's no like, Studio Ghibli isn't as good as Toy Story 3. Like, Spirit Away isn't. I find this really pathetic, and I think he like look, dude, I get it. You don't like modern movies anymore. You like '70s stuff, and I think like it can work for him. Like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, um, works. It's enjoyable. It's not my favorite, but I have noticed he's fallen off. But I think he's like one of those guys who like just likes his current era, was never gonna go beyond it. It happens to most. I'm a weird person, so I what can get into newer stuff. Not that I'm like down with the kids. I'm old, but like it just it to me like this plays like somebody who still thinks they're really smart about cinema, and I think he's a great director, But I don't know. I've been really disappointed for him a while. And after Hateful Eight, which I still like his movies, but it does feel like going from like, oh my god, I have to see every Jackie Brown thing, and I just had to see Coffee and Foxy Brown and like all this black exploitation, and like any interview, I'd see every movie. And now I look at him and I'm like, hey, you know what's good? West Side Story. I'm like, oh, you mean the Steven Spielberg movie nominated for Best Picture? Cool. This sucks. like you're just recommending big movies now. Like these are all like, how many of these were Best Picture nominees? How many of these were like played on over 3,000 screens? Like this is just like not, you're a multiplex guy, and it's like I am, because I have no time, but you're Tarantino. Like this is pathetic. I just, anyway. And then this whole thing about Paul Dano I thought was really pathetic. I really didn't understand that need to shit on Paul Dano, which I felt was really stupid. Messes retracted. What? Anyway, thank you, William Owen, for message retracted. Cheers to you. Appreciate this retract. I believe that takes us over to the flashing lights. I'm not. Whatever you wanted to say, tell me. Error. Try again. Okay, maybe he's going again. I'm very confused. What just happened? Are we? I guess we're past it. Anyway, I like Paul Dano. I've liked him. Okay, he said Cabin Fever sucks ass, and Eli acting ruined Glorious. I don't think it's that bad, um, but yeah. Well, thank you for. I think it's 2 super chats. I hope that's okay. But anyway, we're definitely past the thing, so we'll have this go. But it was disappointing, and but thank you, William. I really appreciate it. I'm not sure what happened there, but anyway, um, uh, I didn't love the Paul Dano thing, and I didn't love his whole like shitting on Scorsese. I've heard rumors that Scorsese and De Niro are not really impressed with him, and he knows it. And he's not thrilled about that. And I wouldn't, if I was a big filmmaker and Scorsese thought I stunk, I would not love that either. Um, but it's I don't know, man. I was disappointed by this, and I really thought him like shitting on Scorsese. It's also like, I think my favorite Spielberg of the 21st century is still Catch Me If You Can. I would definitely put. I don't know if I would put West Side Story. I would probably put like Catch Me If You Can, The Post, Tintin. I'd have to really look at it. I'm not a big War of the Worlds person. I should probably do my. I'm not a big like white people reacting to 9/11 thing. It's just like not. Boondocks, amazing, the comic strip, but everything else, yeesh. Anyway, I just I was really let down by that. I thought he could do a lot more with that. So, um, I mean, I thought Paul Dano really brought it, to be honest with you. But I also think like the thing with casting is you don't have people with the same acting style. What works about it is they're different acting styles and oh, Bridge of Spies. I forgot about Bridge of Spies. You're right, Emblenty. I would put Bridge of Spies high up there. Anyway, I won't get into all the James Cameron stuff, but I love that interview recently. This is like, how James Cameron famously, when he pitched Aliens, he wrote Alien, wrote an S, and put dollar signs through it, and like just sat down and they all cheered or something. Supposedly, when they're writing the Avatar sequels and they realized they were going to make 5 total Avatar movies, and he pitched it to Disney, he said to Disney, what? They were like, I don't know, that's a lot. And he said, what part of making $2 billion do you not understand? I was like, Jesus, he's such a dick. I mean, is he right? Sure, but like, it's just like he's such an asshole. I was like, I love that he's such an asshole, but he's like such an asshole. Um, I love that quote though. It's like, what part of making $2 billion do you not understand? From my understanding, what I've read is like Bob Iger sort of is like, just leave James Cameron alone. Let him do what he's gonna do. I do love that about him. I used to be a big fan of his when I was in middle school, and it was like right before Titanic, and I was like obsessed with him. No, I'm not as much, but I do have like a fondness for them. But I mean, he has a pretty good filmography. Ooh, good point, William Owen. Moonlight's not on there. You're right. And where are the Avengers? No, I'm joking. The movie with Uma Thurman. That should count. All right. We're. I don't know what's okay. I think I should talk about Scarlett Johansson. We're gonna do this whole Scarlett Johansson into super movies into Stuckmann. I'm sorry if I don't talk about this. The Warner's. Understandably, can you just be on my side, everyone? Understandably, Netflix Warner's thing fucked up my whole shit. Yeah, no Get Out. That's just Moonlight and Get Out are on every 21st century list. It's like Moonlight, Get Out, no Kelly Reichardt, no. I think Studio Ghibli. The fact is, like, I'm sorry, Spirited Away. It's really hard for me. To me, like that's up there. But my 21st century, I think Mind Game might be my favorite. I think it's like Mind Game, Fury Road. I don't know. I don't know if I like There Will Be Blood is like a big classic, but I also really like The Master. I don't know. I I don't know if I could do a list like that. I do need to do. I want to do 1.2 my four favorites, like a video where I just talk about my four favorite letterbox things. I had to do that at Thanksgiving, and people were surprised by my list. Although I think if you know my taste, my list, my four makes sense. Um, I would put I don't know of the Scorsese's he's made in the 21st century. I think my favorites are Killers of the Flower Moon and The Aviator. I'm not Gangs of New York I need to rewatch again. Wolf of Wall Street is him like recapturing something. I respect the silence, but I don't know. Wolf of Wall Street is more enjoyable, but I do feel like it's like him being like, see, I can do Scorsese still. I'm like, I already knew that, dude. You're fine. Departed, I like, but um, anyway, all right. So Scarlett Johansson, we have two different things, and it's sort of like two different dramas, and it's actually really interesting. So first, she has signed on to The Exorcist, the second of the Universal spent a lot of money, and they are invested in her based on. And I heard from Jeff Snyder and other reporters from just today that Universal loves her, which makes sense. She's like doing the Today Show. She's married to Colin Jost, who's another one of their biggest stars. She just did Jurassic World. Apparently, Lucy was a Universal thing. They've long wanted to work with her, and they like working with her. And she's also wanted to get into horror. They have a Mike Flanagan uh, Exorcist franchise that they need to get in the right, in a better place. And I think she's in a similar case, and I wanted to say this as what Mark Wahlberg was when he was doing those Transformers movies, where that sort of inflates his persona. But like, look, her Jurassic World thing worked out. She was in the MCU. Most people know who she is. I don't know if she could open a movie based on her name without IP. Since she doesn't do that, we wouldn't know. But I think the Jurassic World thing worked for her, and she seems to work with Universe. Like she appears on SNL, which is a big moneymaker for them. So of course they're going to want her to do The Exorcist. Supposedly they first offered this to Angelina Jolie. She's considering making a big movie and being careful after The Eternals didn't really work out. I know Scarlett Johansson's wanted to do horror. She kept being a part of the Creature of the Black Lagoon remakes, which is like, if you could really do a long video on like everyone from Carpenter to Gary Ross to like so many directors have tried to make a remake of Creature of the Black Lagoon and failed. It's like a project that like I guess like Del Toro did unofficially, but that's like the closest anyone's gotten. Um, but yeah, no, Scarlett Johansson shouldn't really make statements ever on things. And I agree, her Woody Allen thing was yikes. I honestly think I would respect Scarlett Johansson more about the Woody Allen thing. She's like, I did it for my career and it worked out. I don't know. I'm sorry I did that. I wish she would just say that because that's very much what it felt like she was doing at the time, and she did it. But anyway, the Mike Flanagan Exorcist, which is a follow up to the other Exorcist movie. I'm not sure what the take's gonna be, but she definitely like. It feels like she's someone who wants to get into horror. If you're a modern star, you want to get on that train. So we'll see. Yeah, Pan's Labyrinth is an easy 21st century. Anyway, We'll move on. We could just complain about that fucking list all day. Um. Also, we found out she's going to be in Batman. Now, one part of this whole story that's weird is every article says, and Zoe Kravitz isn't in it. She's not playing Catwoman. I know she like played an Asian woman once, so you might think she would play Catwoman and a tree apparently. But she's it's like two un like why they're wrapped up together. I have no clue. The rumor for a long time, one we've known for a long time, and I've talked about that Zoe Kravitz was not going to be in Batman 2. There's always been this rumor that she was going to get her like HBO. Well, we don't know where that streaming show is going to go, but wherever it is, she'd get her show between 2 and 3, and she'd come back in 3 or something. I don't know if that's what's going on. I wish she wasn't pushed in that. It doesn't make sense. But supposedly, she got the role in Batman. We don't know what that is. There's all sorts of rumors. A lot of people says she's the Phantasm or Andrea Beaumont, or she could be because Matt Reeves said the villain is someone who's never been in live action before, which kind of suggests, since the Phantasm is from an animated thing, that that's what they do. No one is sure at all. There's been wild speculation, but literally no one knows because what is it? 5 people um have read the script or something. Oh, Cineram says, Jim, you want to place odds on Scarlett Johansson playing Andrea Beaumont opposite Robert Pattinson in the next Batman. My one thing about this is, and cheers to you, Cineram, is that I don't know if their ages. I don't know. I don't want to be like ageist, but I don't know if that works, but I don't. I wouldn't mind the Phantasm getting that acknowledgement. It is in my mind the best Batman movie. I reviewed it a very long time ago. Uh, but I just really, I don't know about that ultimately because I really love Master of the Phantasm, and I'm not in love with that idea. But if he has something to do with it, oh, and William Ellman says, I hope in the new Exorcist movie they bring back the synchronizer, the biofeedback device used in Exorcist 2, the heretic that synchronizes their brainwaves. I love that idea. Here's you. Maybe if they actually make this Exorcist movie, maybe I'll review Exorcist 2. But we'll see. Supposedly, um, Emma Stone was offered the role, but asked for too much, which is similar to what she did with Sue Storm. That's about apparently she just asked for like 20 million up front, which like, hey, if she wants to do that, she can. She's won 2 Oscars. We're still doing this? Okay, we're still I think we're gonna do this for a little bit. She can do that. Scarlett Johansson apparently asked for lower upfront but higher back end, which is a lot of people are saying is typically what what a lot of people are saying what Robert Downey Jr. taught her to do, and that is very smart. If that is what she did, and I think she's a big enough star to demand that. Emma Stone can like Begonia open better than a lot of the we talked about all those Oscar movies falling. Begonia still open pretty decently. So Emma Stone still has like she can, and that's an art house thing. So you can like, and it didn't I don't think cost too much or whatever. Unlike like After the Hunt, so I think she does have some ground to stand on, and people know who Emma Stone is. That definitely helps. I'm surprised she didn't do the Batman, but apparently the one thing a couple of people are talking about, and I know John Roca and Justin Ayer also talked about, is how the talent who is willing to do Matt Reeves stuff over James Gunn is a thing. However, can I just say that the James Gunn Matt Reeves thing I find a press invention, and I don't really have that much time for. However, it did seem like they're actually going out for bigger people, whereas the James Gunn thing they're trying to keep the budgets lower, whereas Batman stuff, the budgets are always insane. So I think it's more of a budget thing, but whatever. If you want me to acknowledge that, I think it's dumb. But Scarlett Johansson seems to be doing smart career moves because she's doing like, if The Exorcist bombs, she's got Batman 2, she's got another Jurassic World movie. It almost, Begonia costs more than 4 things? Holy shit, really? I didn't see Begonia, but I don't, maybe it has a crazy, especially like the sets alone. But, we're probably going to see a lot more of Scarlett Johansson. They're going to say she's a huge star. I think she's going to go into the Robert Downey Jr. thing where she's just bumping from IP to IP. She'll never really test her star power in a real way. And that's how movie stars are now. They're just, like evil rich people. They keep themselves safe and don't test anything and say, look how powerful I am. And they get the system to work for them. I will say kudos to her to figuring out a way to get the Batman to work. and she is experimenting with another genre, but it's not the same as uh it's honestly to me not the same as like putting a movie like Lucy, which she used to did 10 years ago or something. You know what I mean? I hope with all the star power she does something like that. But she's gonna be a name we're gonna hear about. Not that you thought she was going away, but she's gonna be in like at least three big movies in the latter part of this decade, between a Jurassic World sequel, which you talked about before, which isn't fully confirmed, I will say. The Batman 2 is confirmed in The Exorcist 2. All twos, all sequels, actually. So I hope she does something. Her art house stuff, like In Her Skin and stuff, I hope she gets to do that again. But we're going to hear a lot about her, and it's because she's good at playing the game, much like how she used Woody Allen. All right. Uh, Oh, that's a good point, Cornbread. Okay, this is a good point from Cornbread. The thing with Batman movies is they always are largely understood to be one and done. Like DC expect to be a multi-year commitments, but after a Batman villain, you can cash out. That dude is a good fucking point. That is a good point. All right. We're gonna do two superhero rumor things, and we're gonna talk about Stuckmann, and then I don't know if I'll get to anything because everything got messed up. But Tobey Maguire apparently they're saying is Spider-Man in Doomsday before you freak out. Know that Brand New Day takes place at the same time as Avengers Doomsday. So it's like he wouldn't be there because he's doing his own movie. There's no word on Under the Skin. Sorry, there's no word on Andrew Garfield or Garfield the cat. But supposedly they want to do Tobey Maguire in Doomsday. I keep hearing we'll see a trailer before the end of the year, before Avatar, so we might be talking about that then. I agree. Under the Skin is probably her best performance. The worst performance, man, she is so bad in Ghost World. It is like unreal. I'm always surprised she became a bigger star because the whole time I was like, she is like legitimately very bad in Ghost World. Anyway, sorry. There are a lot of rumors that Wonder Woman will be in Superman 2. I kind of don't love that, but I'll trust. I'll give James Gunn a little thing there, but I'm like, can we not introduce her in a Superman movie again? Or I didn't. Anyway, all right. Um, Christopher Stuckman. Um, Andrew Garfield's Frankenstein. Yeah, he's working on the Tubi Frankenstein now. After the Hunt box office, he just puts on a Frankenstein mask. Um, so I've sort of talked about this in February. And I wasn't surprised to hear this, and I sort of knew this was going on. I don't regularly watch Chris Stuckman, but the controversy came up for his Wicked for Good review, where it's like a 5 minute review, um, and he has a huge gambling ad for a Wicked or Wizard of Oz gambling thing, in the review, which takes up a large portion of it. And I think this shocked people, but apparently this has been going on for a while where he does these long ads during his 6 minute reviews, which aren't reviews because he doesn't review it. He just talks about how good it is. And then he does this thing. And I think this one played like a parody. In fact, most of the time we saw Stuckman do these ad reads. And I saw people, like when he did this ad read, I saw parodies of it and people just used the script like literally, and I thought they were joking. And then I watched the Wicked for Good review because I'm like, I'm going to talk about it. I should watch it. And it's really like he looks like it. I look. It's hard to make money in the arts and to do reviews. And he's a filmmaker who Shelby Oaks. I'm not being shitty. Did not make a ton of money. And I don't know if he was really going to get box office first gross anyway, based on that he's new. But um I really don't see how you can watch this video and look at him having any sense of integrity. Because, as a bunch of people have already pointed out, there's nothing he's really offering in that review that you couldn't sort of guess from a trailer or something. He's like, Ariana Grande is really good, and Susie Aria, and the sets are nice. And you're like, what the fuck is this? Like, there's no personality to it. It's not like, Wicked for Good really reminded me more. Returned out like nothing, like even a little bit of an opinion or something like that. And the fact that he got so many, like, from C. Robert Cargill and so many people endorse this guy, and he's become like the most sanitized, horrible crit. Like, he's not even a critic anymore. Like, I don't understand how he's able to say it's a movie review. I actually think it's false advertising. It's sort of movie endorsement with his in the big ad. And also, like, the thing I don't get is everyone's like he's doing this for money. Like, the hilarious thing is I don't want to, like, I don't extend my videos unless it's like 2 seconds maybe or something like that. But I don't know if you knew this, but on YouTube, if your videos make more if they're over 8 minutes. And I was like, wait, so is he like just doing the ads and he's just doing this to do the ads? Like, he can't even have the material to fill an 8-minute video on a fucking review? Like, you don't have enough material. Like, you're supposed to be this great filmmaker and you can't fill that much with material on a movie that's like 3 hours? Like, who are you? Like, you don't like movies. Like, it's pretty clear to me he's more interested in his career that I have heard no movement on. And he made a very bland movie. I mean, I think I will get to these. Sorry, I'll get to these, but I honestly think the thing about his looking at Shelby Oaks and looking at this is he's a guy who cares about the perception of him, and he's sort of treading water. Like, if you look at Shelby Oaks, it's stylized, but it's stylized in a way to just be another kind of horror filmmaker. It's not to do anything interesting with it. He didn't say anything with it. And his reviews aren't saying anything either. And I sort of wonder why he's communicating at all, because he's not saying anything other than, here's my ad reads. Now, I get that he has 2 kids, but bitch, I got 2 kids, and I ain't doing sellout shit like that. Now, granted, no one's asking me to do sellout shit, so I don't have that option. But it'd be cool. I definitely, it would be nice, but I haven't been asked, so I don't have that opportunity. But I'd imagine I wouldn't. But the the point is, I wouldn't do it that badly. Like, Jesus fuck, dude. Like, just like you could literally do. I just don't understand like what he thinks he's protecting ultimately. But he's just like, what's the point of having the channel? Like, he didn't, like, he could have easily gone like, oh, what did Wizard of Oz mean to me as a filmmaker, and what that means with Wicked for Good, and how I like that, and what I like about musicals, and like, there's certain things he could actually bring to it that aren't reviews that would be interesting. Like, I kept thinking that throughout this thing is like he could easily look at anything. But also, so my original issue, let me do these and I'll talk about what I talked about in February, to sort of reminder. I like William and Christopher Double Down Bojack. I like the like high roller comment. Cheers to you, William Woman. And same part says Jeremy Johns would never pull something like this. The true integrity there. Are we still flashing? Oh, yeah. Oh, we are. Sorry. Just use same powers. So my original problem with Stuckmann, and I brought this up in February on a show on Movie Crap, is that I was aware that he was not. He was signed to his movie was coming out on Neon. It hadn't come out at the time I brought this up. Just to remind you, and then this actually ties in. It's not just a random, like, previously on Beef. Jim's beef was for Chris Stuckmann. Is that I did not like that he basically would not criticize any movie. He was still reviewing films released by Neon, which is called a conflict of interest, which he was very much interested in still doing. And I saw him sort of doing Osgood Perkins, like, sort of kind of hiding towards the end of the video like an ad for them. But now it's like very clear, like he was doing keeper ads, like in his ad reads. Buster wants to comment on Chris Stuckmann, but I don't want to repeat what he said. It's really unethical. But sorry. I think so, but he's doing that. He's now doing ads for Neon movies, which is a huge conflict of interest. But I guess he doesn't see that way because he's not really criticizing anything. I kind of just don't understand his persona at this point. Like what, and again, granted, I understand most people say, well, he's a crit. I'm not really jealous of him. Um, or anything like that. Frankly, the work he's putting out, I have nothing to be jealous of. But I mean, it's cool that he was able to, I say phrase, able to do that. But I just don't understand like what there is to aspire to. I think this is something like I'm surprised he didn't respond to it uh at all. And I kind of just don't think he cares. And I wish he had, he was doing something with this platform, this, people believed in him, and like, but we haven't heard like, is he making a new movie? Is he like, doing anything with this power he has or anything? He just feels like he's too afraid to lose his shot. But like, what's he gonna do with it? And I find this to just really be shameful, and I really don't like him present. Like he's never been my bag, but now I'm just like openly sort of opposed to him and his um persona shit, because like you you're not reviewing movies even though you call them movie reviews. You're making them mainly to get ad reads from it, and you're not even like, if there was like a really good review around that, I could be like, okay, well, you got to fund these things somehow. But there's nothing there. It's not analytical. It just he it just he really needs to, I don't know, if he's really struggling financially or something, and this is like, I know his wife has various health issues, and he has, two kids and all this stuff, but like there's it really is hard to empathize with him. Austin, I didn't forget about you. Just sorry, it's sort of unrelated. I didn't want to break the thing. Um, it just, he just comes off as like this like kind of guy who's taking advantage of us. You know what I mean? And I think as an audience, you owe a certain amount, because like that's people's hard-earned dollars and time, and you don't just throw away an audience like that and treat them like that. And I hope he either comes out and says something honestly for his own audience, or he kind of just stops. I kind of like, I feel like it's too, if he had rebranded, other than just like I'm positive all the time. But I find, as a critic, as someone who really does love this art form, I find what he's doing shameful, and honestly, probably one of the more deeply offensive film critics I can think of. And I would put him lower than the critical drinker, or like, geeks and gamers and stuff, because like I don't like them, but at least they are definitely grifters, but at least they know what they are saying. Like he's just like not doing anything and collecting ad money. He's like just he's sort of like, less, more styrofoam than a person at this point, with, no real just, I don't know. Anyway, um let me read Austin's thing. I think we're just gonna do a trailers thing and then move on to the segment. Oh, I want to do box. We really ran time today. Sorry. The too many things. Okay, Austin said, Andrew not an Avengers nor Frankenstein. He really must hate working on Mondays and eats too much lasagna. I love it. Cheers to you. All right. This has been, I think, a good show actually. Sorry, I really can go on about it, bitch. Damn. I wish being Chris Stuckmann, I guess. I don't really want to do them too much, because I do feel like it's like sort of a negative thing. So, okay, let's just talk about the trailers, and then we're gonna, because it is getting late, even though we started late, but it is still late here at night. Anyway, I do have Far Cry in here. I'm gonna just, anything under this. I'm not sure what we're doing. Box office is like, Zootopia 2 made a lot of money. That's, oh, I should talk about Zootopia. It's in the headline. Damn it. Okay. Uh, we'll just move on to box office then. I'm sorry about that. I realize I should definitely talk about Zootopia. It's in the thumbnail. Maybe that should get bumped. No, I probably shouldn't. All right. So, we'll do box office break, Family Guy thing questions, and eventually we'll all go to bed. Box office. I'm not going to talk about the previous week, but basically, Wicked had the second biggest weekend of the year, though, and the previous week. And actually, starting 2 weeks ago, we're starting to do better than the pre-pandemic levels, which I think the studios and theaters were hoping it would do. After a fairly horrible October, I sort of wish things like The Running Man in particular had come out in October. And although Predator Badlands is holding well, which I think like it worked out for them, it's not working out for Running Man. Running Man should have been released in October. We really needed something like that then. But whatever. Zootopia 2, just typed in Zootopia 2 and I didn't, can't believe I almost forgot about the box office thing. Oh, I did it with Turning Red. I don't like to do that. Well, I don't like to sort of lie. I like to be honest with you guys and give you the thing that you came for. I don't want you to go, oh, that motherfucker. Anyway, it's just a thing. So Zootopia, if it had a 5 day, which was 158, but it's Thanksgiving weekend, it made $100 million, which was and 500 million worldwide, including $400 million outside of America, mostly in China. It was the biggest Chinese American release we've had in a long time since Avengers Endgame. If Because it was a huge 5 day. If it was what, I don't know what I'm saying, but it's the biggest animated film of the year. It did better than Frozen 2, but not as good as Moana 2, which is odd, but okay. Um, it was the biggest worldwide opening over the year and fourth of all time. And it might actually end up being Disney is the only studio this year to have a film make over $1 billion with the Lilo and Stitch remake. They probably will with Avatar, and they might also with this, which is insane. And is currently the fifth highest grossing film of the year worldwide. And I also learned that this is also the first top 10 worldwide without an MCU movie, which is insane. I think what happens with Zootopia 2 is what happens with most sequels is most sequels do the box office based on the reception of the previous movie, and Zootopia has a fairly good the public likes Zootopia 2, basically. Um or like Zootopia 1, much like how the public felt about Moana. They really liked Moana, so they all came to Moana 2. Whether they'll come to Moana 3 is a different story, but whatever. It's doing really, really well. In fact, I think this is really the box office that, what we didn't see through October and the beginning of November, now we're really seeing. I do think what's happening with the box office is they're basically surrendering to the big movies. In New York, I'm only seeing Avatar SpongeBob ads everywhere, even though Five Nights at Freddy's 2 is not having, even that comes out right now. You can see it right now in theaters, and we're not seeing the ads as opposed to movies coming out later. It's like they've just surrendered to these big things. I get it. It kind of sucks. I sort of Five Nights at Freddy's as well. I do not understand why they didn't put that out in October, but that's their thing there. But Zootopia 2 has really brought back Hollywood in a big way, which I think it needs, especially with the news we learned earlier tonight. Wicked for Good had a 58% drop, which can be expected, but it's still up to $269 million, and it's a huge movie. I don't think it'll do as well as the first Wicked, but I think it'll hold well until Avatar. I guarantee it'll stay in the top three up until Christmas. Five Nights at Freddy's is not really. I could see Zootopia Five Nights at Freddy's 2 not opening at number one right now. Although this week is even though it's December, it's a low consumer weekend. Most people don't really spend this week, so I think it'll be. We'll see about all that. But things like Now You See Me is holding well. Predator Badlands is holding well, only minus 26%. Predator Badlands up to 85 million. Now You See Me is not doing as well as the others, probably again. Should have come out in October. Wake Up Dead Man would be considered eighth, if depending on how you count it, depending on who you're seeing. Was 4 million over the 5 day, and it was the biggest limited release of the year. I think it was the biggest release of the year. I don't hear as much hype about the new Knives Out, although I saw people saying like they wanted to see it and stuff. But whatever. There will be sort of a big drop this weekend. I guarantee it with that. But we'll see. I haven't seen Zootopia 2, but I plan to with my kids. Oh, they're saying. See, the problem with the Wake Up Dead Man stuff is no one's sure how much it made. Box Office Mojo is saying way lower. We'll see. And what's it that cat video thing is? Cat Video Fest 2025 is actually really killing it this year. So good for them. In 27th at the box office. And I learned the Baltimoreans is just like has stayed in Baltimore theaters since September consistently. I kind of want to see it. I think I should definitely try to check that out since that was a movie that I know so many Baltimore filmmakers wish they made a movie called that. All right, before we take a break, I want to say obit to Jimmy Cliff, the reggae legend who I believe worked on The Harder They Come, which is one of the greatest soundtracks of all time. I believe he worked with Bob Marley. He was one of the great musicians of all time, and R.I.P. to him. But yeah. Anyway. Oh, Wake Up Dead Man's better than Glass Onion? Oh, okay, cool. I mean, I'm going to watch it on Netflix. So, all right. I'm going to take a break. I'm sorry that we are. I know movie crap, bingo, and all that stuff. Yeah, I'm going to take a break. Then we will do the Family Guy Christmas special, and then we'll do questions, and that'll be it. So let me. Where's the thing? All right, let me put. Wait, oh no, let's get the bumper up here. Where are you? Okay, all right, I will be right back after this. Okay, sorry if that was a little long there. Thank you all for being here tonight. Let me switch back. Yeah, this has become, well, I guess we started late, so. Can you go down here? Okay. Hey, I also didn't talk about this is a regular show Christmas shirt. I just got out of the thing on one of those sites where it's like you get the shirt for 24 hours or something like that. So, oh, you saw, oh, I do want to see, oh, Udo Kier. I'm sorry, I should have talked about Udo Kier. Yeesh. Should I go get him? I go get Buster, and then we'll talk about the Family Guy thing. I'm just gonna play. Let me play. Did he stop? Okay, I guess he stopped. Never mind. All right, let's get into this. If anyone wants to super chat before the end of the show, and I guess we're close to. We're not really close to anything. If anyone wants to super chat before the end of the show, this is sort of your last chance. This is the last call, I guess. And thank you everyone who has and all that stuff. All right. So, oh, I did want to say something before we start this. I think, and I will do, maybe I'll do a review of Smiling Friends season 3 soon, since I was confused, like, wait, is it over? It's over, I guess. Um, I think Smiling Friends made potentially the best Christmas special and the best Halloween special of this year. This is I guess they're episodes, not specials, but I still think they did both best. Both best. All right. So today I'm going to talk about what is called, this is the latest Family Guy holiday special, and it is actually, according to any episode guide, I guess the next episode after the Halloween one I reviewed, called, this is literally the episode of the thing called, I think it's actually called Hulu Presents Disney's Hulu's Family Guy's Hallmark Channel's Lifetime's Familiar Holiday Movie. And this is basically Family Guy parodies a Hallmark, Lifetime movie, basically. I I kind of think this was a better thing to do than, like, I think last Christmas it was just like, oh, Lois needs a present or some dumb shit like that, which is like, um I think that this is a little more game when, like, when the Simpsons would do a horror movie that you can tell they actually liked and enjoyed. And I think this is the same, like, Hallmark things. It feels like you're sort of on everyone else's level with the holiday thing. It's a little less like, oh, I'm trying to be uh I'm trying to be, I don't know, like, relatable or something. Like, I don't think people really want that, and it sort of plays like the Halloween special when they're trying to come up with the best Halloween song. That really didn't play very well. I think this is like a little more fun. You have Lois pretending to be a big city career woman, and then she goes to the Townsville, which is not Powerpuff Girl related. They call it Townsville in this. And don't mention that that sounds like Powerpuff Girls. And then Peter's working there as, like, the guy in the town who she falls in love with, and she's supposed to steal his pie recipe, and she's supposed to steal his pie recipe and everything like that. Now I've seen, like, Yule Log 2, the the Hallmark parody from last year was a lot better and weirder and more fun. This is not that. And in fact, I think, from what I've gathered from Family Guy fans, often Family Guy will literally explain the joke. I didn't really mind that in this, because there's a lot of times they did funny things with it, like Quagmire in the office beginning. I think they said, like, one part they say, like, man, Season's greetings is just isn't it crazy that Season's greetings are Nazi sympathizers? And I was like, what? And it was like, all right, it's a Hallmark movie. I thought that was really funny. Like, I don't think Hallmark movies shit on other greeting cards companies and stuff like that, but I love the idea. I thought that was a funny joke. I like that they go, they first are making fun of the small town thing is like a regular Hallmark thing, but then like, have you ever been to a smaller town? They're like very conservative and stuff, and they keep making like conservative jokes, and I think Chris only shows up as addicted to meth, and like some of that stuff I thought was good. They even had a joke that like he couldn't fix her car because the thing to fix her car was on a high shelf, and the town only had one ladder, and they were and he said the fire department's using it, and he almost got the ladder, then someone else grabbed the one ladder, which is like a total dumb kind of like very silly cartoony joke, but I actually sort of liked it. um I've noticed like some people don't, Family Guy fans actually didn't like this much, probably because my exposure to Family Guy is very light. I probably like this more. I also thought it's like they're actually doing something with the holiday that's like a little more fun, and this felt more playful, and like they actually knew what their jokes were doing. It didn't feel like just random kind of cliches and stuff, even though they are sort of making fun of random cliches. And I don't really know a lot of these movies. I was actually thinking I should actually like watch one because I feel like I know the genre, but like I don't know. What is the Citizen Kane of Hallmark movies? I was thinking that today. Does anyone, is there one, or is it, I should ask Rachel Wagner, she would tell me. But anyway, um it is a lot more clever than this. Of the Hulu specials they've done, this is absolutely the best one. I really do think they had a lot more fun with this. You can tell they actually, much like Yule Log 2, I can tell they got into it. They like sort of like the genre as much as they like shitting on the genre, which is like, I think if you're gonna do a parody, you can't totally hate it. You have to like it to a certain degree, and you can kind of tell that these guys actually got into these, which I think is actually a good thing there. I liked having the cast of Family Guy play other parts, like they're the Muppets or something. I think that was actually a smart idea. I don't know how often they do that other than the Star Wars things. But I thought doing with that made this feel a lot more alive. Um, but I like the Andy McDowell joke because apparently it seems like people don't like that, but the joke of the Andy McDowell thing was like Lois comes up to her and goes, "Oh, it's Andy McDowell. I wonder if we got her voice. We I wonder if she signed on to this." And then she like keeps talking in this weird voice and then talks about pooping. And then Lois leaves. He goes, "Oh, I guess we didn't get her to be in this," which I thought was like kind of funny. I've never heard that. Maybe they've done that joke before, but I like the joke of like, "Oh, this must be this celebrity. I wonder if she it's her voice," and then it's like clearly not, and they're like, I thought that was kind of funny. I know, like, I watched some review of this lady who reviews a lot of Simpsons thing, and she thought they should have picked someone more relevant or something. But I thought the joke wasn't that she's in a lot of these. I think the joke was more that like they asked one person, and instead of recasting, they just they just made fun of her, and she didn't say. I wonder if she actually passed. That's the part. Like, did they not? And that's an extra. I think it'd be funny if she didn't ask. I thought this was a lot more fun. I Hallmark, even Hallmark parodies are so cliche, but I like that they like messed around with it, and even the end was extra dark and like had some of the weirder jokes worked well because it had something to bounce off of. I feel like when Family Guy just like goes off into the random dolphinness of the whole thing, it really just feels like just a bunch of guys throwing shit at the wall. And this didn't feel like that. It felt like they had a real base to go off of, and it felt like they were also having fun for once. The others felt like Disney mandated they do this, and they did it. This felt like they like kind of actually gave a shit for once, and I appreciated this. Maybe I do agree, like them constantly saying like this is a Hallmark movie can be annoying. Maybe it's because my expectations are so low I just let it slide. But I thought it was actually a lot better for them. Thought it was a decent holiday special. I actually thought it was a decent Hallmark parody because it's able to like both be really silly and weird at times and like just put in that stuff. Yes, I think Yule Log 2 I will prefer, and I think is much better and it's a lot more interesting. But I actually did think this is a decent parody. I thought like Family Guy doing stuff like this and maybe genre things works. And this is the same guy, who's doing all the voices, who brought us Naked Gun this year. So maybe he does seem to understand parody a certain amount, but I think he really needs something to base that on. Not just like, Halloween doesn't have a song and we're going to scare someone, I guess. Like, if they had done like, Family Guy does Night of the Living Dead or something, I think that sounds horrible, but uh, the idea of that, I think they really much need that to center it, and I think they had that with this, and I thought they did a really good job with it, and I also like things with ridiculously long titles, and this definitely does that. So I actually did like what they did, and I think this was their better, probably their best streaming exclusive special of recent years, and I thought they did a good job with Disney, Hulu's, Family Guy's, Hallmark Channel's lifetime familiar holiday movie. But yeah, all right. Let's let's do. I'm gonna write questions below, and I would recommend if you guys want to watch it. All right, questions. Sorry, questions below. I'm gonna do the Patreon stuff first, as you do. I'll do Austin's second. Let's let Sinram go first. All right, he's doing the timestamps. Dude deserves it. Unless nobody's done. I only saw one on the tomorrow one. You can post them on both, but I'm just gonna check. Okay, Sinram says, does Stuckmann's gambling end count as either movie news or animation news? JK, I'm just being difficult. Real question. Do you have a favorite example of a studio alerting it, altering its logo for a particular movie? Examples: WB in all green for The Matrix, for the Fox logo converted in snow for Edward Scissorhands, and the 8-bit logo and theme for Scott Pilgrim. I love the universal one for Waterworld, where at first a you think it's a regular Universal logo, and you slowly see all the planets. Hey, there's Medela Butterfly. Cheers to you, man. I love it. You think it's the Universal planet, and you see the all the land slowly disappear. I always really liked. I thought that was actually really clever because you don't realize what's going on at first, and I thought that was a smart one. That's the only one I've always remembered that stuck out for me. So I'm just gonna use that one. Sorry. I think that's a good one. We'll do Austin's. I'll do Austin's second. Hey Jim, hope you're well. Hope you had a good Thanksgiving. My question is, why didn't they call too too wicked it about too wicked it about Carl from Aquatine and Carl and Oz roasting people? And what would you have called Wicked 2? I mean, I don't really understand why it's called Wicked for Good. I wouldn't mind like More Wicked, or Wicked Continues, or The Wickedest. The Wickedest, I think, is the best one. Jordan Richard asks, were you a fan of Eddie Murphy and Jim Carrey movies growing up, and which you remembered fondly? Eddie Murphy movies I watched when I was really little, and my memories of them I think I've talked about this before, got all discombobulated with Ninja Turtles and Police Academy. Because when I rewatched Beverly Hills Cop, I'm like, I thought this was from Police Academy, that opening with the truck. So I liked him, but I don't think I was a fan. Jim Carrey, I was just into the whole '94 thing. It was so that '94 string of movies. I saw Ace Ventura. I think 2 was the first one of his I saw in theaters. I liked the Ace Venturas then. I kind of got out of it because he was so overexposed, and Truman Show was my big one. But I think Liar Larry does really good performance. Dumb and Dumber I've never gotten sick of, so I say Dumb and Dumber, maybe Truman Show, stuff like that. Nathaniel Fogel, what's a Sonic character you'd like to see in the movies? I would like to see more of the girls who are in the comics and stuff. I think that would be preferable. I don't know, like beyond Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Shadow, I don't know a lot of them, but I remember all the girls from like Amy and stuff like that. I think they should have more women in it. It's like there's a lot of girl Sonic fans that I think that would be a good idea. All right, where are Cornbread? Did the bad guys 2 underperform because all the furries were saving their fur bucks for Zootopia? Should we have distributed the fur wealth more? Should one have been delayed? When you say should we, are you saying you're a furry? But also, I think I'm surprised that almost everyone's surprised Bad Guys 2 underperformed. I liked Bad Guys 2. I was disappointed it underperformed. I think maybe August is not the greatest time for that movie. I also think like Hollywood's really got a dating problem, which has gotten worse. Like I actually didn't think the WB Netflix thing was gonna be big. I was gonna have a whole thing about how I really think we fucked up with October. We could have moved some of these things, particularly Five Nights at Freddy's too. Like, why did that not come out then? But yeah, I don't know. No, like literally, industry analysts still bring up like, why did that bomb? Like, it was bad. It was good, and like people enjoyed the first one a lot. It really doesn't make a lot of sense. So I think it's just like you're at the end of the summer. People don't have as much money. It's really hard to justify for a regular consumer who's not on an unlimited plan like I am to do that many movies. And I think, it's also like Superman, Fantastic Four, most people saw those with families and stuff. So I think it's just that market was a little like just, you know, burnt out, to be honest with you. Same powers, isn't it a good thing? Is it isn't it a good thing theaters will buy from this movie? After all, sometimes at the movies, someone will sit behind and eat their popcorn too long. How can we bear with such misery? You're totally right. William Elman, how would you rank these David Lean films? Great Expectations, Brief Encounter, Hobbs Choice, Oliver Twist. I'd probably go Oliver. I don't think I've seen Hobson's Choice, but I would probably go. I'd probably put Oliver Twist last. I really like Brief Encounter. I'd probably go Brief Encounter, Great Expectations, Oliver Twist. I don't think I've seen Hobson's Choice. I don't think so. Anyway, how would you rank the Apartment trilogy? Repulsion, Rosemary's Baby, Tenet. The Tenet is the worst one. Repulsion is really. I would have a hard time picking between Repulsion and Rosemary's Baby. I'd probably put Rosemary's Baby first because I've seen it more times, but I do quite like Repulsion. So one and two are like close, but then I don't like the Tenet actually. A lot of people are surprised by that, but I didn't like it very much. And I didn't think Roman Polanski's good when he's like threatening to cut off Jack Nicholson's nose as an actor. I don't think he's a good person. But like anytime he tries to do more than that, because wasn't he in the, I remember really not liking that movie. George Toon's favorite Christmas movies: Home Alone. I think it's like It Happened on Fifth Avenue. I like that one. I end up watching White Christmas. I'm not sure if I like that that much. I'd say Home Alone, Elf, stuff like that. I hope that answers. Sorry. Embla T. I really, really hope the Department of Justice would interfere about the antitrust. Oh, fucking. Sorry, it made me reload. Wait, what? Where are we? Are we still what? Okay, we're still. Sorry. Hold on. I gotta go back up. Sorry, everybody. What's it? I really, really hope the Department of Justice would interfere about the antitrust towards WB and Netflix is horrifying. You are right. It is horrifying. It's really horrifying. I I I mean it hasn't fully happened, so I'm hoping it doesn't, but I mean the only way I think maybe Netflix knows that they just have to do distribution, but I'm also like, come on, man, you can think of all the K-pop Demon Hunters money you made. Think about it. The Thanofoga favorite Oasis song. Maybe what's the one? First one I heard was like I can't remember. I don't want to say Wonderwall, but it's like Don't Look Back in Anger. Yeah, that's the first one I really heard, so I'm gonna just say that. I'm more of a Blur. My wife's a big Pulp fan, so I'd probably say Pulp over them. I less and less into them over time. I just feel like Pulp and Blur are influential and Oasis was popular, is how I feel about it. But I know people don't like you shitting on Oasis. That's cool now, which I don't agree with when people are like, you can't say bad things about things. That's a really bad precedent. Like, it's like, it's not. Anyway, I don't love that, to be honest with you. Al Vasquez, do you still want to see Tarantino make his last film despite his controversial comments these past years? He seems to just be entering his old man. He has a cloud face. I actually don't think he's going to make another movie at this point. I know that might be hot take or something. I just don't find it happening. I think he's likes being at home and complaining about movies and his kids are gonna be like, dude, you suck. Why don't you shut the fuck up? Nathaniel Foga, best Black Friday deal you've ever gotten. When I didn't have to work it, that was a good deal. Other than that, I can't think of one. Embla T. Much of the stills I've seen so far from the Odyssey look more like the Iliad. Are we being Trojan horse by Nolan? I like that. I don't think so, but I like that's interesting actually. That's interesting. I think it's just like flashbacks is probably just showing maybe that's like on purpose thing going on. I don't know if he's on purpose. What do you think the next live action TMNT will be like? I honestly think they'll be more animated like Sonic, since that's all we really can go on. But I if they're more like cartoon characters in the live action world, that would be interesting. So, Zane Powers, Jim, I got it. The way to make Rush Hour 4 profitable with a lower budget is to recast Chris Tucker, Jackie Chan with all the saved money. Brett Nather's big comeback. Here we come. Sid Rams was pretty good, I think. But yeah, you're right. What was the last solid that Mordecai had to do for Rigby? Oh man, I don't know. Maybe just like still being friends after all these years. Anyway, St. Powers, thoughts on Matt Groening's Life in Hell. I had a couple collections. I remember sort of liking it. It was never my favorite, but because I was so obsessed with The Simpsons, a kid, people would give me them, and I enjoyed reading them, but they were never. Is it still going? I'm assuming it's over. Al Vasquez, what? Oh, I saw something. All right, what would have just preferred WB split into assets instead of being bought whole from one company? Yeah, I would. I would have. I was kind of hoping Disney would buy um Looney Tunes or something. But oh well. Embla T question. I've seen a movie trailer starring Kate Beckinsale lately titled Wildcat, and it looks bad. But the studio logo that made it is called Bad Movies. Are we just being punked, or is that just honesty? I haven't seen that. That's amazing though. Have you considered gamifying your tread film? No, no, but I've heard that. Yeah. Question. Waterworld. I've heard there is real Waterworld 2 news, and I'm just very confused. To me, Kevin Costner has a real like. I wish I could have made a Mad Max thing because he made sort of two of them in the '90s, and I do not think he's the filmmaker. If you had a good film, if you're like, I'm gonna do Waterworld, but I'm gonna really bring the George Miller, I'd be down for that to a certain degree. But Cineram, have you sat through any Lifetime Hallmark movies? If not, what would motivate you to watch an entire one? I saw the Lindsay Lohan one for Netflix. I've definitely seen a few, but it did occur to me I might be watching more parodies. But I've definitely seen, like I saw the Hot Frosty, and I've seen the Vanessa Hutchins like princess ones, but I don't know those ones. I would like to watch one this year. I'm gonna look up what's the Citizen Kane of. Maybe I should just ask Rachel. I'll ask her. Oh, Norbert's here. Boston accent. Wicked to Wicked Hard. Anytime I hear people saying when the Wicked movies come out, I always think, wait, how are we saying Wicked? I don't know. Sorry. Cornbread question needs to be noted. The Sonic movies in 2020 isn't said to be a spinoff. It could be, but they just call it an event film like Avengers. Maybe they're intentionally being vague. Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Cornbread. So what I'm asking is, what do you think is the most likely scenario? One, it is the spinoff. Two, it's a space filler. Or three, they're being vague since after four they're done numbering entities. I sort of actually think they've just moved Ninja Turtles to it, and it's just a placeholder. I think that's probably what it is because I don't really understand what that would be unless we start seeing more of a plan. But we really don't know anything, so this is a very vague prediction. Who's currently in a better state when it comes to recent reputation, Chris Stuckmann or Doug Walker? That's an interesting question, but it's Doug Walker. Because as much as both sort of just feel they need to react to something, I don't love Doug Walker's commentary. But I want to also say this about it. Doug Walker still, it might be a bad opinion, but it is an opinion. I don't love like particularly like his review of the Purge movies, which are I used to like a lot more. I haven't really re-engaged with them. Where like you could tell he had an opinion. And either I don't like it or not, like Chris Stuckman has no opinion. So I'd actually say, despite The Wall, which is like 6 years old now, um, even in The Wall, he showed an opinion. So what I'm saying is, this is maybe the meanest thing I'll say about Stuckman. Stuckman's work is actually less interesting than Doug Walker's The Wall review, which I think is notoriously the worst, one of the worst, considered one of the worst reviews ever. But like, I actually think the thing is, like, I wouldn't say Stuckmann's are the worst, but you wouldn't list as the worst because I don't really want to rewatch them. There's nothing to rewatch. So, Zane Powers, you'll derail your whole show and make a headline out of Chris Stuckmann drama. Yet you wouldn't even cover anything new with Doug Walker, a better critic. Has he? I did the wall when that happened. If there was news to talk about, I would, but there isn't any. So, question. So, what was the best answer in terms of box office, Bob? A bomb trading cards. Sorry, it's like late in the show. I think someone had. I think John Carter, if it exists, is my current favorite. If I can find John Carter, and I'll do the Caravan of Garbage did Lone Ranger, John Carter, and Sorcerer's Apprentice. I think those would be the best ones, frankly. Austin, did you ever do the Toy Story Casino double feature in '95? They both came out the same day. Oh, really? No, I didn't. I didn't actually get to see Toy Story in theaters originally with the first one. Fortunately, that's a crazy double feature. At the time, if I was me now, I would have seen Casino first. I probably would have seen it because it's the first. done done after since how much? Okay, sorry. Cornbread asked done after this since I asked a big question. How much of a nightmare do you think the next stream is going to be with the uh uh news LMA? I don't know. We'll see. I will read more analysis and read more in it. That was more me react. I don't normally do that. So Mandela Butterfly with Looney Tunes, SpongeBob, and Muppets, etc. What other franchises should have supporting character movies? Supporting character. That's an interesting. Huh. I can't. I actually think Mission Impossible, the Tom Cruise thing, like Simon Pegg should get his own show and they should bring back Mission Impossible to the show. That actually I do think should happen with those characters. Family franchise though, I cannot think of one. Probably like I think you could give Grover his own thing, but I'm pro Grover. How do you get cat hair off your shirts? You get these like pet roller things. Those the lint roller things really work. But I don't know actually. Buster and I don't know. Maybe he learned to get it off. I don't know. Cornbread. I'm saying we because I'm secretly Universal Studios and I really needed that furry money. You know what? Now your identity's finally been revealed, Cornbread. You're Universal Studios. I'm okay with that. How likely is Cameron going to get Alita Battle Angel 2 made at this point if he plans to step down from directing Avatar 4 and 5? He says he's going to do it. We'll see. I don't know. He says a lot of stuff. So he does admit he did admit in the town interview that he develops a lot of stuff that nothing happens with. So I think that was interesting that he was at least open to saying that. I'm sorry it's so late, everybody, but let me just get all these because you guys have been nice and all that. Does your Spotify age prove that you fought in Korea, Vietnam? Sure. Question is, Ice Spice a Lost Spice Girl member? No, I don't think. If she, I was. Oh, it is interesting. I never thought she'd be uh um friends with Taylor Swift, like for real friends. I thought it was just a. That's the only Ice Spice thing I find interesting. Like, oh, you guys are actually friends. I thought it was like a career thing, but I guess it's not. How likely do you think it is that Scarlett Johansson will star in Lifetime Hallmark movies once she's hit all the other major franchises? Maybe she'll. I think she should go back to doing the art house stuff. She was good. Austin, are you going to repeat your King Ralph video, but for SpongeBob Krabby Patty Meal? I can't. Those Burger King gets real expensive, so I wasn't sure, but a part of me was like, maybe. We'll see. Can I not see the Spider Verse 3 because Red Letter Media listed in their corporate sequel slop lit? Oh, come on, YouTube. Come on. I really wanted to read that one actually. Sorry. Sorry. Oh, risk listed in their. Okay, sorry. Can I not see Spider Verse 3 because Red Letter Media listed in their corporate sequel slop list in their new video along with Miss Piggy, Alpha, and Street Fighter? Are we getting a real Alpha? Like, that sounds very pessimistic. A favorite? Oh, Access show. Oh man, I don't remember them, but that one. Sorry, MLT. Wasn't like Jesus something? Super Jesus? Super Jesus. Zane Powers, Five Nights at Freddy's also got bad reviews. Does this once again prove all video game movies that movie critics are stupid, drilling into know nothing, and actually ruin life? I did get really negative things about, even though I was pretty upfront about my knowledge of Five Nights at Freddy's and stuff. No, I just think like, I mean, it's not a really good franchise to be honest with you. But we'll see. I do plan on seeing the second one. Would you consider reviewing Family Guy's first Christmas special with Al Vasquez, a merry freaking Family Guy Christmas, in their earlier seasons and/or hour-long special Road to the North Pole? If they stop doing the Hulu ones, I don't really want to do two Family Guy Christmas things, but I would maybe in the future. Yeah. Embla T, I prefer Five Nights at Freddy's more than Wicked for Good, even though both aren't even good for me. Is there something wrong with me? I mean, that's a take, I guess. I don't know. I haven't seen either, so it'll take me a minute to respond to that. Why would they call it a vomitorium if you don't vomit in them? Okay, that's a very Zing Powers question. All right, let's Medela Butterfly. Have you seen Single Santa Seeks Mrs. Claus? No, I'll look that up. Dog walkers. The wall goes to school now. Fueled yet? Question: has Stuckmann convinced you yet to see The Keeper? No, but it is interesting. It's in that. Do it for the vibe. All right. I think that's it. I am definitely feeling. We actually pretty much killed this energy drink. So thank you all for your super chats tonight. Let's do a final. Let's do a final list of all the super chats. I'm going to do a thank you to everyone. Black Seahawks, Wickle, Nattenbox 64, St. Powers, Nattenbox 64, Nattenbox 64, William Elman, Austin, Nathaniel Fogo, William Elman, Sinram, Jortunes, M Blood T, William Elman, Sinram, William Elman, William Elman, Zane Powers, Austin, and Medela Butterfly. Thank you very much for your super chats tonight. I very much appreciate it. All right. I believe I'll be back next Thursday. We'll see. I think there'll be some cool stuff coming up soon. And I very much appreciate you all being here. I hope you guys have you seen work now. I hope you guys have a good night. I hope you enjoy the content coming out. And I hope you take care of yourselves and maybe see a Hallmark movie or just watch You Along too, because that was really good. Anyway, you all have a good night. Have a good early Christmas. See a cool movie. And I'll see you all next time. Thanks again. Subscribe. I'll see you all next time.